Welcome everyone to episode 95 of Missing Pieces. My name's Greg, and this series serves as my audio journal where I sit down and I discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind. If you'd prefer to listen to this as a podcast, you certainly can. It's available everywhere that podcasts are available. But if you'd prefer to sit here on YouTube and watch me as I speak, I can pretend that's not creepy, and we can jump into this week's episode, which actually picks up where last week's left off. I mentioned that this was going to be the week that everything changed, and everything did change. Clark Mann went off to school this week, and I thought I would describe his experience, at least in my words. He describes his words in a video that I actually edited this morning that's going to be going out hopefully today, where he talks about his first day of school. But we're now nearly a week in. I'm recording this on Friday, my new day of recording podcasts, because it's a little something that I'm moving around as well, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But yes, Clark Mann is now a first grader, and he was excited. He was excited to go to school, a little bit nervous, of course, but he ended up having a really great experience going into his first grade classroom, had a couple friends that he knew from last year there. Recess, he's able to play with friends that he had from before, and it's working out really well for him actually going to school. If you guys remember last year at this time, probably episode number, I'll say 40-something, you probably found out that Clark Mann ended up doing remote learning kindergarten last year because of COVID. We decided to keep him home, to keep him out of that mess. And I really enjoyed that. I really did, because it was like he was in school, he was learning, and we had a lot of time each day to do all the things that we wanted to do. Like school was only like 2 or 3 hours, but because he was doing that, he missed out on a lot of the social stuff that I think is probably the most important part of school, at least for a kid his age, especially an only child, is to be around other kids and see what that's like. How do other kids act? How do I act around other kids? What's it like to form friendships? What's it like to sit in an actual classroom? What's it like to have to pay attention and to listen and not speak out? And all of these things are very important things to learn, and why I value education. Contrary to maybe some of the things that I've said about education in the past, there are some positive things about it. So he's having a great first week. He ended up riding the bus for the very first time, which was a whole experience within itself. But now every morning, Clark rides the bus, and I pick him up in the afternoon. We talk about his day, and then we share the evenings together. And we're able to do that because I've been putting in a lot of work during the day on specifically this channel, and I've been really excited about that. My experience, Clark's has been, I want to say, like 99% positive going to school. Mine, I'm a little split. Like, I was really looking forward to this chapter, I guess, because for the last 4 years, Clark and I have been spending pretty much every day together. Like when Cody goes to work, like it's us together. And I've loved that time. Like, it's been great being able to do all these things that I would have never been able to do otherwise with him, and all the things that we've done, and all of the things we've created that you've experienced and like been a part of our journey on. But for me, I was like excited for this next chapter to be like, what can I do as like a solo thing? And like, where can I take brickitect for the brickitect renaissance that I've been hyping up? And as much as I've been doing, and as excited as I've been, I'm also kind of sad, because I do miss those days where we would just come down here in the morning, like on our own accord, and work on whatever we wanted to work on and do it together, and make like these really like fun videos for people to watch with, like, you know, the crazy little Clark Mann and me being like the dad and filming it and all this. And like, I've loved that. And now I've like kind of gone into the solo end of things, and it's been great. Like, I've been like, yesterday, for example, I cranked out 3 videos. Like, I shot 3 videos, I edited 2 videos, uploaded 2 videos. Like, it's like, I've been wildly productive. But I say all that to say that I do miss the little guy when he's at school, and I'm looking forward to like the weekends and the evenings that we share together. It means a lot to me. So, you got to take the pros and the cons, but I have done a lot this week, and I thought I'd share some of that with you, starting with live streaming. I live streamed for probably about, I want to say 5.5 hours this week, building the Kata tank, the Tiger tank, which I have here beside me. And if you're one of the people that are watching this, you know who you are. I have it here in front of you, which there you go. It's a pretty great model. There were definitely some issues with it, which I put out a video. It would be 2 days ago if you're watching this the day it comes out, or listen to it the day it comes out. Issues with the model, with the instruction manual. Nothing like too major, other than one thing that I had to modify and change completely to make it function properly. But, I take these off-brand products and I know them for what they are. They're obviously not Lego. They're not at that price point. They're not at that quality. You're not going to match that. Lego is Lego because it's Lego, right? But you can get pretty close, and you can do that for way less money, which I guess, speaking of that, in addition to doing a bunch of live streams in the Tiger Tank, doing a review on the Tiger Tank and all the stuff that came with that, and speaking of off-branded Lego, I actually brought back a series that I intend to do every single week called How Bad Is It? I did, I think maybe one or two of them before, maybe more, where I buy like a non-Lego product. Occasionally like fake Lego, like a Lepin set. I did the Lepin Hulkbuster a long time ago. But in most cases, it's just a non-Lego product, and I like to share it. The title, How Bad Is It, is kind of just, it's a little clickbaity because some of the stuff that I'm going to review is actually good stuff. Believe it or not, Lego people. You'd be surprised how many Lego people, like true Lego fans, they don't even consider anything other than Lego, and anything that's non-Lego is fake Lego or boot Lego, as I've called it in the past. And my goal is to kind of open up people's eyes and hearts and minds, I suppose, to other products that exist out there, because there are things that Lego doesn't make that you may want to experience, a tank, for example, and maybe it's worth trying out, and it's my job to kind of maybe push you in that direction or push you away from that direction, depending on what the product is. But I think it's going to be a great series. I've got a bunch of other series that I want to do as well, including the Bugatti, which I unboxed. As of the time you're watching this, you haven't seen the video on it because I've been filming more videos than there are days. But that's behind me here. I unboxed that. There's going to be a series of shorts every week where I show like a bag that I built, and I'm going to do that over the next 14 weeks, which maybe I'll talk more about next week too. But I'm excited to like build that in small chunks and then have it done at the very end. So it's going to be like a celebration of that. But while I was doing these streams on the Cata Tank, back to, I guess this is the non-Lego podcast, I ended up doing something that I thought was really cool and something that I was really proud of, and that was changing up like my entire stream setup. Whenever I stream, I always have this internal debate of whether to show like what you're seeing now if you're watching this, where you're kind of seeing me, or do you want to see like a shot on the thing that I'm building and see my hands building it? And like, what do I do with that? I know some people kind of do face cams occasionally or whatever, have like a little square up here, and then you can see the model. But I was like, you know what? I was watching some gaming live streams, and I love the way that gamers do this occasionally, where it's like the video game is in the background, and in front of that is the person, but they're like cut out because they have a green screen behind them. And it just so happens to be, if I lean over this way, you can see my green screen is actually blue right now because it has two different sides. I can't do blue because I have so many blue clothes that I would be invisible all the time. But I moved that over here, got that all set up, and then I put a camera, GoPro actually, just a little GoPro using as a webcam, had that kind of like over my shoulder, had this camera that I'm using right now as like my face cam, and I set it up. It kind of came together. It took me some time to do, but after a little bit of finagling, I had the exact setup that I wanted to have, where it's like an over-the-shoulder shot on what I'm building, with me cut out in front of the build, so you can see me talking and like have that personal feel, but you can also see everything that's happening with the build. And I was so excited about it. It like revolutionized the way that I'm streaming a little bit. I already had like my audio down, but this was like the video side of things, and I was so proud of it. I was so happy. So I did that for streams 2 and 3 of the tank, and whether people, I think people thought it was good. I don't know. I think most people with streams, they're kind of just there to hang out. They're there for the conversation, I guess. It's like whether you're showing yourself or showing your build or showing a wall, I don't know. It's more about the experience than it is the actual item, especially when you're like in the middle of building something, or you're not going to get that thing done, because that like reward's not there, I guess. I did notice that there wasn't a ton of viewers for my Cata stream, and I don't know if it's because it isn't a Lego product and people, like I mentioned earlier, just like, nah, not into it, or if it's because I'm streaming at like noon on like a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know if like the audience isn't feeling it and the audience is smaller, because like truthfully, most of my audience is back to school now. And it's a tough time, but it's convenient for me. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here, where I'm trying to get all of my work done during the days and during the times that Cody and Clark are at school. Their schedules are about the same. So the time that they're gone is the time that I work. And when they they come home, that's when I take off. And we've been watching like a lot of Full House lately. We got a Full House DVD set, the entire series, in the mail as like fan mail, and we've been watching several episodes of that, and I love that show. It like just takes me back to my childhood. But back to the streaming thing, as we just dance all over the various topics here. I really liked that setup. And I thought that would work really well for gaming as well, because that's kind of where I stole the idea from. And it got me thinking that I may be rearranging my entire studio. So like where I'm sitting now might still exist as a desk. This might be my editing bay, my place where I do missing pieces, kind of just a place to sit. But it's not going to be where I stream from. That's going to be over beside me here, and I'm going to be flipping this around, because what I want to do, that green screen that I have back there, it's on like a kind of like a tripod, and then you put it behind you. And it's awkward, and then it's like always in the room somewhere unless I break it down, which is a nightmare to do. It's so hard to like fold it back up into a little circle and put it in this bag that it came in. So what I'm thinking about doing is I have like this blank wall that's over here, and I have a couple tables that are lined up with just a ton of stuff on them. It could be usable, could be a great place for a Lego city, could be a great place to build. But what I think I'm going to do is take a piece of like green fabric, like an actual green screen, I guess, and then put that on the wall. I don't really want to commit to painting the wall green, even though you could technically, and then make the entire wall a green screen. But I want to have the green screen behind me, flip my desk around so I'm facing like towards this way. I'd be facing the opposite way. So the green screen's behind me, my desk is set up. I'd have my computer set up here. I'd have a television beside it, because I do console gaming. So this would be my place where I game, and then I also do builds, and I'd have like my build stuff in front of me. But I'd always have a green screen behind me. I could do missing pieces there as well, but I don't know, like that to me seems like what I like about this is like, this feels like organic, right? Like we're sitting in my studio right now. We're not like in space. We're not on a pirate ship. We're not like, whatever, wherever you want to go in a green screen. It's not like a black void behind me or a white void, even worse. It'd give me options, but I still kind of like this the way it is. But the question is, do I sacrifice the space that is this space for it? I don't know, that's debatable. I could set up over at brickitect to do missing pieces, but then I'd have to like set it up all the time. And like my ultimate goal with my space forever has been, I want to make it to the point, and I'm there right now, honestly, before I got these grandiose ideas, where I can come down, flip a couple switches, and I'm literally making content, or I'm live, or whatever. Like I just have to turn a camera on and like hit a button. And that's what I'm doing now. It's just, do I want to take this to the next level? Do I want to make gaming more of a part of what I'm doing? And I guess as of right now, the answer is yes, because on our next topic, which is a perfect segue into this, I actually rebranded my gaming channel for the third time. It was Games with Greg a while back, and I wasn't really loving that name. So I was like, I should bring it into the etect sphere, and I called it Gameritect, because Gameitect just didn't work. Spelling wise, it would be Gameitect, and it just didn't look right. So it became Gameritect. And I've been doing streams and stuff there and enjoying it. Clark has as well, and we stream together. In fact, I think Saturdays are going to be like a time when we do a lot of streaming, I think, on there, because it's like during the week things are busy now. He doesn't have time to play Minecraft, and it's like a part of his whole being is playing this game. So I was thinking during the day, like as a way to unwind, as de-stress, if you will, I thought it'd be fun to play some games. And I rebranded Gameritect now to Greg's Arcade, falling from the brickitect branding over to the Greg's World branding. So now it's Greg's Arcade. And I love that name because it can mean so much. Like it's an arcade is a place where you go to play games. It's like for me, it's a feeling of nostalgia. It's like this amazing place where you can go and enjoy like a variety of different games that you can play and enjoy. And that's what I want the channel to be. Even though I don't always play arcade games, I have an arcade like stick set up with like 1,600 games on it or something like that. But we play console games, PC games occasionally. It's a little bit of everything. So it's an arcade is like a place where you play a lot of games. And I like that branding so much. I did a poll on my channel, and it was weird because like 2/3 of the people that I polled on my gaming channel liked the Gameritect name. But nearly every single one of my members on Brickitect, who are mainly adults, they all preferred the Greg's Arcade. And I did too. I just think that it's more it defines what it is more than gameritect. What's a gameritect? What is that? But Greg's Arcade is like, okay, it's almost like if you called it like I don't know, it's like Greg's Game Room, or like, I guess, I don't know. You get what I'm saying though. You either like one or the other. Sometimes change is hard for people though. Like I had a really terrible banner on Greg's World for a long time that I made like in 2014. And then I changed it to one that I thought was much better. And people were like, I hate it. I like the old one. And it's only because that's what it's been. And I find that happens with YouTube as well sometimes, where YouTube, as a creator, like they'll make changes to like the way videos are uploaded or whatever. And you're always like, oh, that's terrible. Even on YouTube, just as a user, they've done this many times where you're like, I hate the new setup. I hate this. I want the old one. And then before long, you're just used to the new one. You don't remember what the old one was like. And it probably actually is better. So I did all that. And I'm just kind of like, I mentioned earlier in this episode that I'm a little sad that Clarkman's gone, but I'm also like really excited because I have all this time during the day now to be productive and to like actually make this like my business and the place that I work and to get things done. And I'm doing that. Like I've done all this stuff. I brought these series back. I've got videos edited. I've got videos uploading. It's very difficult to do multiple videos per day on mobile channels and live streams and potentially gaming streams and stuff like that. But I somehow am finding a way to do it. And I just love it. Like it's obscene the time that I put into editing videos. Like to make like a 10 or 15 minute, especially vlog, is much harder than kind of just showing like a Lego set. I always admire the people that kind of just turn the camera on and they just talk about their thing and they turn it off. But I try to go for those fast hits. Because I feel, the attention span, we've talked about this before. Attention spans are short, and you gotta be concise. It's like the opposite of what this is. That's why this stuff, it's why Missing Pieces is Missing Pieces, because it is this long form content that I truly believe there's an audience for, and that's why I want to really go into live streaming. I enjoy, like I was thinking about this week, as far as documenting my life. I really love like sculpting that. I love having this big block of content and then sculpting that into a little story. As far as Lego, I enjoy it more when I'm sharing it live. I like doing the build live. I like having my experience like broadcasted out there and my honest reaction just like being there. And I'm like more excited about it when there's that interaction. I'm way less excited about it afterwards. Like building the tank was my favorite part of it, but then when it comes to like filming a review on it, making sure you hit like the points that you want to hit and then editing that up, it's not nearly as fun. But in the world of YouTube, most people come to this platform for edited videos, and I think that's fine. There's other websites that are nothing but streams, and that's where people go for those. YouTube recommends or pushes out videos that are edited and usually concise or about a topic. And most people don't want to sit down and watch a 2-hour video about something. They want like, let me know how to do this thing. Give me a review on this thing. Let me know this in like the shortest way possible. And I can totally respect that. I'm just saying there's this aspect of me that really loves that interaction. And I love like, like this week, several days, like I would get my video work done in the morning. And then I'd schedule a stream for like 12:30. I'd go up and have some lunch. And then I'd come down, stream for a few hours. And it was just a fun experience. It was really great. And I think that if I were to do that consistently, like if I made it so I had a schedule where every day at noon or whatever, or every Wednesday at noon, however it needs to be, I'm always going to be live at that time. I think it could build up quite a following. That would be really fun, and there would be like the regulars that are there because our schedules would like overlap. That being said, I do feel bad for the people that maybe have an alternate schedule or they're like busy during that time, because like you think about 12 p.m. on a Monday, for example. So that's 12 p.m. Eastern, which maybe some people are on their lunch break that live on the East Coast, but most other people in the United States, which is most of my audience, they're probably busy doing something. Like West Coast, 9 a.m. They just got into whatever they're doing. You got the UK though. Like you go into Europe, UK, they're 5 hours ahead or maybe more. Maybe you're in Australia. So like all of these things, it works for some but not others, and that's kind of what what the perils of live streaming if you're doing it for that period of time. Now, you could overcome this if you were to do it for a very long period of time. If you were to stream like some of these gamers stream for like 5 hours, you can capture more people like that. Like, you may not be able to tune in at noon, and maybe not at 1, maybe not at 2, but at 3 p.m. when I'm still streaming, you'll be there. But I found that really, like, my ideal stream length is about an hour. After that, it starts to kind of just wear on you a little bit, between like building and like the mental capacity that takes up, and then acknowledging the stream, and then like filtering through that. It doesn't seem like a lot. Like most of you, and I'm this is like first world problems if there's ever been any, especially considering. And this is maybe this is a topic that I'll jump into next, especially considering if you have like a real job and all the stuff you deal with there. I'm so far disconnected from that I sometimes take things for granted. In fact, this week marked my 4th year anniversary of being what I'm calling self-unemployed. Quit my job back on, I think it was like August 26th or August 27th of 2017 to pursue my life goal of becoming a full-time video creator or YouTuber, what have you. And it's like this one just kind of passed by. Like, I almost don't even think about it anymore. Like other years I'd reflect on it and be like, wow, I've been doing this for a year and this is how it went. And this is what I hope for year 2. And then like year 2 is just as good, if not better. And then year 3. And it's just like, I'm at the point now where maybe in the beginning I used to think like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to last. Like I'd always have that thing in the back of my mind that was like, I better hold on to my like business clothes or whatever, because I'm going to need those again potentially. I'm going to have to go back into the workforce. But now I'm at a place where I have 100% faith in myself and confidence in myself that I can do this. Like, I don't see a day ever where I'm not actively pursuing my goal. Will it always provide enough money for me to make a living at? Possibly not. But I'm willing to take that risk, because you only get one chance at this life, and I don't want to waste it working on someone else's goals, which was the first 8 years of my career, or 9 years of my career, was working really hard on someone else's dream when I'd much rather be working on mine and serving people so much better, so many more people in such a more dramatic way than making personal loans to them. And if you want to hear my backstory on that, I'm sure I've talked about it in previous Missing Pieces episodes, so I won't get into it here. But I say all that to say that it's been 4 years. What is that? Well over... Let's do the math detect on that. That's like 1,400 days, maybe 1,500 days of doing everything that I want to do for a living, and it's been remarkable. And I don't take it for granted. I think about it all the time, just how lucky I've gotten. And there's some element to it that I think is luck. The YouTube algorithm is a mysterious beast that sometimes picks things up and sometimes doesn't. But there's also a lot of hard work in it. There's a lot of dedication and a lot of persistence that I've put into this over the last 10 years of my life that most people would have quit long before I ever got the chance to do this. But it was just something that I wanted more than anything else. And what I've learned in my life, and this is why I'm confident in my direction and my future, is that if there's something that I want in life, I know that there's no stopping me until I get that. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And not many people are. And that makes me sad, because I try my best to encourage people, but you can't give something to someone that doesn't really want it. I used to use this phrase back when I worked in my job, when I'd be dealing with people and trying to help them. You can't help the helpless. I'm not saying that you're helpless. It's just there's this thing that you really have to have that drive. And I love watching people or like finding people or meeting people that can match the drive that I have for things. Some people call it a passion. Some people call it an obsession. I guess that's when it goes too far. And I've definitely been there too, but I'm trying to find that balance. That's why I talked about, let's confine my work time into these blocks of time that I have Monday through Friday. And let's just take weekends off. The only thing I'm doing on weekends is live streaming if I want to, which I may. Saturday would be a great time to stream since most people are home and stuff. And it'd be a great time to for people to find us. Or I'm going to be filming things we're doing. There's going to be no like actual editing or video stuff. Like I'm taking weekends off, and I have that luxury now to do that. And it's taken me a long time to actually get to the point where I do that, because when your hobby is your job, like if it wasn't for having a family, like I fully believe this. If it wasn't for having a family, a wife, a kid, all this stuff, I would literally be doing this like 20 hours a day. I would probably be live streaming 12 hours a day among like several channels. I'd be making, there'd be probably 3-4 videos. I mean, people of the world that enjoy our content would be so happy probably, but it's very unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. So I'm finding that balance. I'm enjoying the time in life, because what's the point of like, I want, geez, I don't even know if I believe this though, because I do think maybe I would be happy if I was doing that, but I'd be lonely, right? Like you didn't have a family, like you using this thing, I guess, to fill that void, I suppose, like all your time is filled in it. And I probably would be enjoying it, because to me, it's like, seeing like the numbers and the results, that's like reassuring or reaffirms the activity, seeing the comments coming in, seeing people on your live streams. It all is this thing that's very addictive. It's like a drug, this whole making content thing. When you see like, when you do this thing that you love to do and you're proud of it, and then you put it out to the world, and then people respond to it and people are watching it or people are engaging with it, money starts coming in. It's like, I want to do more of that. And then that happens again. You're like, I want to do more of that. It's dangerous, guys. I've crossed the line. I've been on the line. I've been all over it. And I feel like now I'm in like a safe spot. I'm like sitting on a chair and I can see the ledge over there, but I'm good. I'm just sitting over here. So that's been my week. I just been really cranking out stuff and been like super proud of what I've accomplished. I've even had time and like the margin to go take care of other things too. Like I took Roxy Bear for a walk yesterday for like an hour. It was just a beautiful sunny day. Like it was like the perfect weather. It was like 72 and sunny, beautiful clouds and sky, blue sky. Today, overcast. Good missing pieces day. And speaking of that, let's talk about how I used to do missing pieces. Like to see where I was and to see where I'm at. I used to record missing pieces on Sunday morning. It was like, I loved it being like super fresh. It was as close to a live stream as you could get, I suppose, with it being a recording. But then I would record that in the morning, and then I would like edit it up and export it, which all takes a considerable amount of time, especially when you're waiting for it. Now, like when this is over with, I'll just export it and I'll go walk away and do other stuff. And when it's done, it's done. And the same thing is as far as uploading it. I'll upload this like today or tomorrow, and then like Sunday it's just waiting there to come out at a regular time. Whereas it used to be, I would be doing all of that after recording the episode and then like waiting for it, and then say we'd go out to like go shopping or whatever, and it's still uploading and I don't have a chance to put it out. Like people are messaging me like, hey, where's missing pieces? It's 5:00 on a Sunday. I like consistency. And that's, I think, a big part of this chapter of the Brickitect Renaissance is consistency. I want videos out at certain times. I want certain days with certain series, and I want to see what works and what doesn't work and then modify it as I go. All while also maybe like doing some streams here and there and, organizing, cleaning up, minimizing, all these things that really need to be done. If I could prioritize those over the things I really want to do, which is like building stuff and making content. But we'll get there. We got lots of time. 175 days of school left after today. So there'll be a lot of stuff there. And I'm like really curious. Like there's going to be a lot of solo stuff here. I'm really curious to see how my audience changes as this journey goes on. Because I know there's a lot of kids here that came for Clark Man. And some adults too, right? Like you love that. But now, like the content, I think is going to mature a little bit because it's going to be me for many of the videos. Clark will still be around though, and still going to be engaging in it. Like in fact, the video I put out today, which is about the cat tank, he was in that video, so there's a little bit for everybody. But I do think that the audience is going to age up a little bit, and I think there's going to be this transition period quite somewhat, because there's a lot of maybe 10-year-olds that watch my videos that have no interest in seeing me talk about stuff or like share my thing. Possibly, like this is just me thinking about it, but maybe they do. But I do think that the older audience that maybe aren't really interested in the zaniness that comes with having a 4-year-old in your video or whatever, I think maybe they're going to be more inclined to come over. So we'll see how things go. Might be a transition period, but regardless of that, what I've learned is to never cater to anyone on YouTube. Never cater to anyone. You do the thing that you want to do, and your audience will find you. And I tell that to everyone when they're like, oh, I'm doing this type of video, but I want to do this, and I'm not sure how that's going to go over. The people will leave. That's fine. It's going to be painful. You're going to see people unsubscribe. But as a result, new people come in. And if you're doing the thing that you love to do, or the thing that drives you versus the thing that you feel expected to do, you're not going to have a dead channel in 6 months and have to then like just disappear from the YouTube space and then make a video 6 months later saying, I'm back, I'm going to make videos, and then disappearing again. How many times have we seen that? How many dead Lego channels am I subscribed to? I usually go through like every several months and I'm like, oh man, I used to like that channel. And then like they haven't put anything out. So I usually just unsubscribe because I don't know, I like to keep my subscription box clean. Not that it matters, I guess, because you could be subscribed to millions of people if they're not making videos. But that was my week. It was a good one. And it's fun, I guess, doing this on a Friday because I can just kind of reflect on it as it's happening. I've been doing a much better job taking notes as to what's going on because there's often times, and making vlogs definitely helps with this, there's times where I'm like, man, nothing really happened this week that I can think of. Then I'll go back and watch my vlog footage and it was like, oh, that happened. We did that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this comes. I'm excited about my studio, getting that the way that I want it. That was the big thing to come from this week, I guess. If we're going to have wins of the week, which stay tuned to listener feedback, which we're going to be jumping into here in a second. My win of the week was getting my green screen stream set up and finding the inspiration to make a massive change down here that I think is going to make the space way more functional for the type of content that I want to make going forward. Whether it be gaming or streaming, and also look way better and be more visually appealing to the people that are watching it, if that matters to them. To me, like I worry about this stuff or think about this stuff way more than most people do. If you're thinking about live streaming, don't think that you need to do what I'm doing. Literally take your phone, go to the YouTube app, go live or whatever, do it on your computer. I think you have to have so many subscribers now. YouTube's getting stingy with that stuff, and just do your thing. Some people, like if you're someone that people really care about, like there's people that I watch on YouTube that if they took a potato and stuck a 1 megapixel camera into it and did a live stream from that, I would watch it just because I care for the person, not necessarily the flash and the pizzazz of whatever they are delivering. But it certainly does help, especially when it comes to audio. Anyways, I think that covers this week, at least my experience with Clark's first week of school. He obviously had a different experience than me, and probably a way more exciting one going into first grade and experiencing like school on the actual first day of school, and not being like the kid that comes in the fourth quarter, and going on like a tour of the building and the lunch line and having cafeteria food, whether that's good or bad. And I've been enjoying hearing the stories when he's in the car on the way home. I've had people ask about the Ride Home podcast, a series that we kind of did last night, and I was thinking about it this morning. I actually woke up this morning about 4:30 a.m. with this idea on how I could do the ride home and the way I would film it and have the audio on it. And it got me so excited that I just got up out of bed at that point and started working. So a napitect might be a thing this afternoon, but I love that feeling of waking up excited about the day. And that's maybe what 4 years self-unemployed has taught me. And it's what like following my dreams has taught me. I used to wake up in dread, like, oh my God, and I know some people out there can relate to this, and I'm not flexing on you whatsoever. I want nothing more for you than to find your thing that you love. And it'll happen. Don't stress it though. But I used to wake up and be like, oh God, it's Monday. We got a long day today. All this stuff's happening. I don't even want to get out of bed, whatever. And if you're in school, you can relate to that. But it's way different feeling when you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm going to make this video today. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to do that. I can film this. It's incredible. And I don't know what I did to be here. I almost feel like very lucky, but I feel guilty too. And I feel especially guilty because I talk about this in such a way that I worry that I make other people feel bad about themselves. And I really hope that isn't the case. I take myself out of my mind and I put myself in the shoes of that person that I was, where you are waking up like that. And then I think like, what's your thoughts on this? Like, you're like, oh, well, that's good for you, Greg, but my life isn't what I want it to be. I hope you don't have any resentment for me because, like I said, I don't want you to not be happy. And I think if there's anything that you could have learned through now 95 or 94 and a half episodes of Missing Pieces, it's that My goal is to try to inspire you or encourage you through entertainment or through these podcasts or information that I can provide to try to get you to the level that you're trying to get to. But yeah, I don't know. Just going to keep doing my thing, I guess, and sharing what's on my heart. So let's, speaking of sharing what's on our heart, let's go into some listener feedback from last week's episode 94. First one comes from Brickscape, which I love that name, even though it has the word brick in it. If I could go back, I would have never chosen the name brickitect. Hate the word brick being in names, but I like it when brick forms another word, like brickitect, Brickscape. He says, my life is about to change as well. I've just had one of the best summers of my life, spending a lot of time with my family, immediate and cousins, at the gym and hanging out with friends. I'm about to start my second year in high school, and I'm not too excited about it. It's very daunting and feels like everything is closing in, and my life is about to end in 3 days. I keep myself going by reminding myself that just because school, for adults, work is the same, is starting, it doesn't mean happiness and fun is going to disappear. I have a little brother who I'm extremely close with, and I'm very upset that I won't be able to spend as much time with him on school days. There's still weekends and holidays, though. Either way, thank you, Greg, for sharing your experiences, because it makes it easier and better when there's other people going through similar times with our little friends going off to school. It's so cool to watch Clark grow up from a little boy and see his relationship with you and with Lego. My brother sticks to me all the time, and we play and build every day. Remember, it's just the beginning of a new chapter. I'm excited to see where your journey takes you. What an amazing comment from an amazing kid. Going back to school. He's a little worried about it. He's sad that he's going to not be around his brother as much. But he gives me advice in here that hopefully he's telling himself as well. It's just the start of a new chapter, and we're excited to see where the journey takes you. And that's true. And it's not all lost. And it's interesting to hear from someone that's much younger than me, but is experiencing essentially the same thing. You literally had the same week that I had. Only you went to school. You were still separated from the little dude that lights up your life, I'm assuming. And it's just awesome to see that brothers get along. I grew up without any siblings, so I don't know what that would have been like, but Cody tells me that in most cases, brothers and sisters, they tend to fight a lot. But I would have loved to have someone that I could have really had that bond that only brothers share, or like a brother or sister or whatever. And I think it's pretty cool that you do that. And it's great that you guys are together. But I appreciate you sharing that your worries with us, and I hope that this week went well for you, because you would have started, I suppose, in the middle of this week. So you're a couple days in now. Brickscape, if you'd like to reply and let me know how your first week went, I'd love to share it on episode 96 as an update. Hopefully he says everything was good and all my worries were unfounded. Hopefully he doesn't say that the first day of school I got pushed into a locker and someone smacked my books out of my hand, and I dropped my lunch tray in the cafeteria and didn't have it. Let's not go there. But I just love that comment, and it makes me so happy when someone takes the time to leave one like that. So thank you. Chris has the next comment. He's taken us back in time a little bit here to a place that I think maybe we'll go for the last time right here, but I thought it was important to share this. He says, I don't know if you'll come back to this topic on next week's Missing Pieces, but I want to chime in on the issue of TikTok. This is one that we talked about a few weeks ago, and then a little bit of listener feedback last time. He says, I think some of the more critical commenters are correct in noticing there are a lot of negative things on TikTok, but as far as I know, the app only shows you what you seek out. If some of your listeners are only seeing negative things, maybe they need to seek some of the hobbies or interests they have. Then whatever algorithm governs TikTok will push better content their way. I'm in my early 30s and I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of TikTok. There are some really hilarious short-form comedy creators out there. I just want to put out there that every form of media has clunkers and gems. You just have to be discerning and search out the gems. I love this comment for a few reasons. I like that you're showing the other side of what we were attacking, but I also appreciate this because I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the guy was talking about improving his lifestyle and getting healthier, and he mentioned how he saw a TikTok and how to make this really healthy breakfast burrito, but then he ended up messing it up and everything, and I was thinking, he saw that on TikTok. He watched a video of how to make a healthy breakfast burrito. Maybe there is some positivity there. And like you're saying here, Chris, you just have to find it, right? maybe all he does is look up like healthy lifestyle tips and like, here's how to do like a proper push-up. Here's how to make a healthy breakfast burrito. Here's how to, all these tutorial videos I think could be really helpful. It just depends what corner of TikTok you find your way into. And I guess maybe you're right. The way to get out of that, if you are still in the TikTok game, do a search for something that you like and then like put your time or your hearts or whatever their algorithm uses into that thing. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, this guy likes watching videos on this. So then they give you more of that. And maybe you get out of these like challenges and these crap videos that we were kind of making fun of before. In fact, I'm tempted to try this. I don't know what I would look up. I'm really into camera equipment and audio stuff, so maybe I should find my way into that corner. But again, with TikTok, I do find myself just spending a lot of time there and not really accomplishing much. But maybe that would change if I was watching something that was like productive in the way that it improves my life. I'll report back on that. I haven't deleted TikTok yet, but I haven't used it either. I just don't. It's just not for me. But maybe it should be. If you have any positive experiences with TikTok, there weren't many in that episode where I did the listener feedback. Feel free to share those if you'd like to. Next comment comes from Cosmic Lime, a repeat offender on here. He says, someone who is still young enough to remember being around Clark's age. I'm not that young, Kappa. Don't hurt me, please. He's been around for a while. Usually younger people don't notice. This is in regards to me noticing Clark's teacher uses a lot of filler words, and I felt like I was as well in last week's episode. It says, people don't notice the uhs or ums in teachers. It just really matters that the teacher can make the lesson fast-paced and relatable to children. And don't worry about using filler words here. The great thing about this show is we can connect with you on a personal level, and that includes a few ums and uhs. That's okay. Well, thank you. I did notice someone commented, I didn't catch the name, but they said, do you realize how many times you say like? And that created like a whole new thing. I was like, do I? I probably do. I didn't notice that one. Could someone count how many times I say like in this episode? But I'm doing my best. Sometimes it's just a matter of slowing down a little bit. Next one is for Owen. Last week we had someone ask for some advice-itect. Advice-itect gave some advice-itect, and now this is Owen's giving some advice to this person as well. He says, advice for the guy asking about his YouTube channel and friends. This is a situation where he wanted to create Lego content but was afraid his friends would find out. He says, don't worry about people finding out about your secret embarrassing hobby. It's really not embarrassing. As long as you're confident in it, people will respect that. And if they don't, they're probably not the people you want to be around anyway. Yeah, you should sometimes take a look at your friends. And if you feel any doubt that that person won't support you no matter what, they're probably not what I would consider to be a good friend. Something to think about. Or you could be like me and you don't really have any friends and you're just trying to develop relationships from the past with your one good buddy, which is kind of where I'm at. It's hard when you're an adult to maintain friendships, especially when you work by yourself. Like so many friendships are born out of like common things like, oh, we all work together, so it's easy to maintain those friendships because you have that thing and you see each other every day. If you don't have that, you kind of go off on your own island, which is kind of where I'm at a little bit. But I'm an introvert, and this is like, to be completely honest with you, I love this right now. I love this. That's not to say that I shouldn't like put myself out there though and develop these friendships and stuff, because it could be helpful and valuable and worthwhile. I just like, if you had to ask me like my favorite place to be, it'd be in my studio right now doing this right now. Like I just love it. I love getting like, I just love my space, and I like the comfort that comes with that. And I know if you're listening to this and you're a Lego person, you might feel this way too. And I look at that as a sign of being content. Like if you're happy, if your home's a happy place, if like you feel comfortable there, if all your stuff's there, that's just like, that's your jam. And that's quite okay. So I'm not going to put the focus on telling you to find friends when I don't do it myself. Follow your heart and do what makes you happy. Number one rule of missing pieces. Lastly, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. When I was looking through the comments, I found out that Wins of the Week made a return. It's been a while, and I was thinking about this. I'm like, I haven't really talked about Wins of the Week in a bit, and as a result, no one really has any Wins of the Week. It's one of those things you kind of have to keep, like, you got to keep like the air flowing into it, I guess, or like keep priming the pump, or whatever the terminology is. I'm not a mechanic, guys. Chaz Monkey 101 says, a long-time Google Podcast listener, first-time commenter. Holy smokes, he came out of the woodwork. Who else is on Google Podcasts right now, or Apple Podcasts, Spotify? Who's listening to this and you've never left a comment before? And now you're this far into this and you're thinking, You're probably not thinking you're going to leave a comment, but you're thinking that Greg's going to ask you to leave a comment. And I might, if you have the opportunity. This is my favorite part of my favorite thing that I do, which is this podcast. I love hearing from you guys. I love it. Okay. So I need people to do that for me so I can hear from you. But you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're probably doing something super productive right now. I wouldn't even dream of asking you to come over to YouTube. Maybe I will. Let's go on to his comment here. He says, I know this is irrelevant to the topics in the podcast, but I decided to share my win of the week as I thought it to be important, especially to my bank account. The win of the week is finally emerging from my 3-year-long dark age with the purchase of 21325 Lego Ideas Medieval Blacksmith and the whole of the Star Wars 2021 Summer Wave. R.I.P. this guy's wallet. Says, sorry for the long comment. Thanks for producing content which guided me through the dark ages. I love that he's talking about dark ages and he got the medieval blacksmith shop, which I have in the backlog right now. He bought the whole 2021 Summer Star Wars Wave. Oh my goodness, man. He literally spent his 3 years of his saving on Lego in 1 week. I kind of love that. Welcome back, man. Welcome back, Chaz Monkey 101. Not only as a Google podcast listener, welcome back to the world of Lego. It's going to be an expensive hobby for you, my friend. This is just the start. Next thing you know, you're going to have 6 more sets. Whatever your wallet allows, I suppose. You're going to love it. I'm so glad you're back, and thank you for continuing to listen to the podcast on Google Podcasts. One I think the least popular places to listen to it, surprisingly. It's like Apple Podcasts and Spotify are the places people go. Weird. Anyways, we got another win of the week from Jedi Lego Arts, said correctly for the first time ever. It says, win of the week, finding out my house does not have penetrating damp and rising damp, just condensation. Hey, hate being an adult. Return to building Sesame Street to get over the trauma. Also now feeling pretty good about never having watched TikTok. Well, there you go. Some bad things happen in your life that are possibly good, I guess. Just go build some Lego sets. It's a nice activity, and it's why I love collecting Lego. It's a great way to rekindle that childhood where you had no worries. There was no concerns. You just sat and you built your stuff and you built fun things that you enjoyed. That was my childhood. And that's why I do this as an adult, I guess. It's probably some psychological issue that I have where I want to go back to that time, but unfortunately can never do. Last comment of the week, and another win of the week, comes from Webmaster. It says, win of the week, I deleted TikTok. Are we going to talk about TikTok every week? I think this should be it. I think we should end it here unless someone has something to say about the things that they watch on TikTok that they actually get value from next week. It says, after I heard the harsh truth about not gaining anything from it, I finally deleted it. On another note, baseball is not boring sometimes. Oh, I'm sorry. I knew that was going to offend some peeps when I talked about Clark going into soccer and how I could, even when I tried, I could never get into watching baseball. And I tried hard. Since I've been playing since I was 4, it makes sense for Clark to try different sports because he does not know what he likes yet. I played basketball and soccer before I realized baseball was my calling. Good for Clark, and let's hope that he scores some goals. He loves soccer, dude. He's done his couple practices. We haven't had a game yet, but man, he's just happy out there the whole time, kicking the ball and having fun. And I didn't see that in baseball. It was just a lot of sitting around, standing around, waiting. So I feel like soccer is the thing. And I think once they have the fundamentals down, I'm watching them at these practices. Once they have the fundamentals down, it's going to be awesome to watch. I'm stoked about that. But we'll report back on that in a future episode when we actually have a game, which I think is probably coming up. And I'll report back on all the other stuff, I guess, that's going on in my life as the weeks go by here, as solo Greg kind of takes over in the studio and Clark Man's off to school, Mrs. Brickitect's out. It's I have all this freedom and all kinds of ideas and things that I want to do, and I'm just so pumped on this. So thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Missing Pieces. I hope you got something out of this. Hope you enjoyed it. If anything, I hope it just killed some time for you, or maybe you got some steps in. Whatever it did for you, I hope it was worth your time. I hope you didn't leave disappointed, and I hope to find you in next week's Missing Pieces.